Digest in association with Golden Fry.
For the last 43 years, this is the place where Professor Rachael Musoke has called home. She has been attending to mothers of all walks of life, some with children even less than a kilo. And today, the curtains close on this illustrious career that has spanned over 2 different countries, Kenya and Uganda.
After you've been to the hospital one the time, it's something that very different. It takes you away from the day-to-day nitty-gritty of the hospital and so forth. And now that I think about it, I can maybe sing.
Ask any music lover, and this voice will not be strange.
Art thou troubled, music will calm thee. Art thou weary, rest shall be thine, rest shall be thine. Music, music, source of all gladness, heals thy sadness at the shrine. Music so divine. I was many times part of the festival, you know, the school music festivals and whatever. Almost always I was part of the choir for the music festival. And when I left school, I joined a choir in Kampala, which used to be called the Kampala Singers, which is more or less equivalent to what I've been associated with to here, the Nairobi Music Society. Most of the music that we sing has been on the classical side, but not always, because some of the time we've done, in fact, depending on the conductor, there's been a time when we've been asked, because we are many nationalities within that choir, then it was decided, June concert, we had each let people bring a song from their region, and we learned these songs. Some were in Chinese, some were in Japanese, and some were in other languages, French, German, and so forth. The thing with singing, you can sing in language. And I was also at one time part of the conservatoire choir, but there we used most of the songs we used to sing were the Kenyan traditional or semi-traditional songs and whatever.
Ask any doctor who schooled at the University of Nairobi about this classic car, and they can only think of one name.
This little car of mine.
How about it? This was like it was a signature.
It has been a signature for so long, yes. And I've enjoyed it. I am Rachael Musoke. I used to be Masembe before I got married. You know, in Uganda we have clans. I belong to the Nsenene clan, which is a special type of grasshopper.
You want to see the uso?
Now he has to breathe.
Yeah, the breathing is a question. Yeah.
Usifunge mapua. Ako wapi?
The baby is here.
Okay.
Wow.
Beautiful.
A baby girl.
Beautiful girl.
Yes.
As a young woman, she moved from Kampala, Uganda to Nairobi, Kenya. And it is here at the Kenyatta National Hospital where she cemented her career as a pediatrician and a consultant neonatologist. Many doctors who are pediatricians have passed through her hands, and others credit her for the newborn unit and introducing kangaroo mother care in Kenyatta National Hospital. Now 76 years old, she retires and moves back to Kampala, Uganda, where her career began.
Sometimes probably I was always told I was too strict, but I didn't know that. I didn't know that until now people come and say, you know, you used to be so strict. But I don't think I would have done it differently, because the way we were taught in medical school is, okay, you treat, it was, you have to follow specific things for specific things to happen.
Petite, soft-spoken, and the silver hair of a wise old lady, Professor Rachael Musoke is well known for her no-nonsense when it comes to the newborn babies.
We used to have a key to the department where we had a bilirubinometer. So even in the night, those days were good. Even in the night, the registrars would go with their sample from maternity cross, come open the department, do whatever they do, bring back the results. Then, of course, eventually we moved to this tower. And we were very happy to move into the neonatal unit. We moved there in 1982. We were very excited, and we started the journey. Most of you have been through that journey. You came at different levels. But for me, I have no regrets. When you look after a small baby, even less than a kilo, and you meet a mom in the road, and like a small person, you know, people come to the newborn unit, they ask you, you mean this is a person? Yeah, they do. So I said, yes, this is a person. So now you meet them, and they are taller than you, and moms are very happy. I get happy that we are able to save babies that we were not able to save before. But now with more information on how to look after them, a lot more are being saved. Many of the very tiny babies never used to survive, now they survive. They have their major medical challenges. For example, sometimes a parent might have lost their baby, but because you did all everything that was possible to save that baby. In fact, there's one time I looked after a small, this was in Uganda now. I looked after a baby. It wasn't a neonate, but unfortunately we lost the baby. Now, it so happened that the parent of this was actually a relative. I didn't know her. So one day my mom asked me, you know, the family functions. We went. Mom asked me, okay, there's a family function. Can you come and take me? So we go there, and I meet this mom. And then this mom says, I didn't know this was our daughter. You know, she looked after my baby. I know the baby died, and now she was telling my mom that although the baby died, she really worked. Now, when people meet people like that, yes, she left the hospital very sad because she lost the baby. But then when they know that you've done as much as you could have done to save that life, they still appreciate. And I think that's something that you feel happy about, that yes, in the medical world, you know, it's not never 100% that you get everybody, you save everybody, but as long as you take care to make sure that even if you are losing, you support the parent or the relatives who is losing to be able to accommodate whatever is going on. Neonatology has evolved so much. In those days, I mean, it was basic care, feeding, keeping the baby warm, and making sure moms and there and so forth. Of course, now with time, technology has evolved. By the time I went to the UK, people were starting to ventilate babies and so forth. So I picked up the idea of ventilation of babies, now more specialized care. This is a beautiful present for me. It's going to be a very good reminder of all the little ones that I've looked after, especially this position which we call the kangaroo position, which is very, very important for our little babies that we bring up in the newborn unit. And we can see Mama is very happy with this baby. Yeah.
I met Professor Musoke at our very last day at the Kenyatta National Hospital.
Yes, this certainly is going to be a reminder of Kenyatta. Of course, I can never forget Kenyatta. This is where I've grown up.
Thank you.
Before this day, I had last seen Professor 10 years back as I did my turn at the pediatrics unit at the University of Nairobi, specifically at the newborn unit. This is where babies from the first few minutes of life to their 28th day are admitted.
One of the things that we did in the early 80s was to start a neonatal nursing course. Initially, it was in-house, kind of on job. So we started it. Initially, it was 3 months. Then those who went through the 3 months said, no, 3 months is too short. So we gradually expanded the neonatal nursing course. And I think we were the first one to have a neonatal nursing course in Kenya, because there wasn't any other neonatal nursing course. So that, I think, was something that we feel that we contributed to the care of the newborn in Kenya. Now, in kangaroo care, around the year 2000, one of my colleagues met another colleague from Bogota. You know, kangaroo came from Colombia, Bogota, and they happened to be talking. And then that time we didn't have a kangaroo care in our unit. So this lady now suggested, why don't you send a team to Bogota to learn how to do kangaroo? So at that time I was in charge of the unit. So we sent a nurse and a doctor to learn kangaroo. And when they came back, that's when we started the kangaroo program. Because we didn't have a room where we could do full-time kangaroo, we were doing intermittent kangaroo. So the moms come in between the feeding, they sit with the babies, do kangaroo care. And eventually, I think, I can't remember which year it was, Save the Children helped us to equip the kangaroo room that we have, which has 10 beds. And then now we are doing 2 types of kangaroo. We still continue the intermittent kangaroo because not every mom can fit in the other. But then we have the other where we can have a mom on continuous kangaroo care. Both types are useful in that we find that even those who do intermittent kangaroo, the babies do better than the ones who don't. One of the things, of course, we've had problems is with of course, resources, in that you haven't had as many resources as you would have wanted to. But still a lot of babies can't survive without many of the resources. So you learn to improvise so much that sometimes you even forget that you're improvising. I remember there was another mom I met. She was here and she moved to the US. Her baby was 900 grams. Now, she used to tell me, you know, I didn't think my baby was going to survive. So one day I went to the US, and by some coincidence, she knew somebody whom I knew. So she had told her, whenever she comes, let me know. So she comes to, this was my cousin's house, with a young man, 19 years old. And then she's telling this young man, you know, this doctor is the one who looked after you when you were 900 grams.
Professor Musoke was one of first, from kangaroo mother care to mentoring many doctors into the profession of neonatology.
She has been the decision I decided to do neonatology. Even from pediatrics, she actually mentored me in terms of when I initially came in as a volunteer in Kenyatta as a volunteer pediatrician. She really helped me solidify that decision to go ahead and do neonatology and helped me with the application process. And even on coming back, she has actually helped me just get into the role of being a neonatologist, which is very different from when you're in training.
He's persevered, and I remember at one point in time, he used to have shortages of simple things like soap. And she used to ask us to bring small remnants of soap from home to wash our hands. She told the list of the differentials. You'd ask, and what else? And that made you think, what else have I missed? What else have I missed? So when you meet Professor, you're always prepared to be asked, what else? And those are the differentials, the things that you may have thought about when you're thinking about a neonate who is sick. She was always available for our classes, for our lectures, for ward rounds and everything else. I think it's somebody that all of us should try to emulate.
Professor Musoke has been more of a mother to me. We've had a very long journey with her. When I joined pediatrics, she was my allocated mentor. And therefore, she was a strict mother who actually made sure I did my homeworks. She gave me extra homeworks and marked every time. Twice a week, she gave me an essay. And she would actually mark and we sit and discuss. She introduced me to the children who are very vulnerable in Kenya. She actually takes care of the children in Nyumbani Children's Home and the community arm of it. And she actually introduced me and made sure I actually used to go and take care of the same children. And that's what piqued my interest in research in HIV and the children.
It was not an easy job to start with. Okay, not that people were difficult, but we were losing too many children. In fact, nearly every month we were losing a child. Nearly every month we were losing a child. But Father D'Agostino was a very aggressive person in that really he campaigned for ARVs. Then we started getting visitors who would come with, for example, a consignment of ARVs. Then you would say, okay, we have, let's say, 5 babies, 5 children who are disparate. And you discuss with sister, now which of them is the most disparate? Then you put that child on ARVs. Now, at that time, you don't even know whether you'll get a continuity of the same drugs. So at that time, we used whatever was possible. But I think in the long run, it was better than not giving, because many of the children that we started in '99 are now adults.
Her roots trace back to Uganda, but this is a place she eventually made home
for many years.
When we were in senior school at Gayaza, our class was actually the first class to do physics and chemistry at O level. But at that time, I don't think I had formed my idea that I wanted to go into medicine. Then when I went for high school at Buddo, again, because of the choice of subjects, one of my brothers who was already in medical school influenced me to take the subjects that would lead me. But at that time, he didn't even tell me that. So, okay, then when it came to the choices, then I chose to go into the medical school. Medical school those days was very interesting because we were very few girls. In fact, in our class of 60, we were only eight girls. And out of the 8, we were only 2 African. But we had a vibrant group of eight girls in our dorm, in a way that we celebrated each other's holidays. Some were Muslims, some were Hindus, some were whatever, Christians. So we bonded as a group very well in the school, through the school of, and then of course we graduated. During that time, actually, Makerere was the only medical school within East Africa. So some of my classmates, in fact, a third of my classmates were Kenyan, a third of my classmates were Tanzanians, and that's the way they used to call, each country had a third of the class. When we finished our undergraduate, of course you do internship. Then after internship, when it came to posting, I was posted into the department, the Department of Pediatrics. Now, having been there for a whole year of medical doing, then it was such just natural that I remained I remained in pediatrics. After my M.Med, I went to the UK to do the neonatology fellowship. But I had left my husband in Uganda, knowing that I was going to go back to Uganda. But things got so bad that a lot of Ugandans at that time decided to come to Kenya, and he was one of them. So he wrote to me and said, you know, you are not going back. I've moved to Kenya. So that's how I came to Kenya. My son was the first one, of course, the firstborn. He lives in Uganda because, okay, the family has been in music quite a lot. He actually, when he went to university, he told me he wanted to do civil engineering. And I said, okay, I'll support you to do civil engineering. But he always had music at the side. When he graduated, he actually went full-time music. So he's now teaching at the Kampala Music School. In fact, he's the director of the Kampala Music School. He plays the flute and piano, and he's done also voice training. So that's my son. My daughter went to Daystar. He did communications, but she didn't want to go into media. So she was more in print and so forth, but now she's doing more graphics, branding, that kind of. So that's what she's doing. Both of them are married. My daughter is married here, so she's a permanent guest. So I will always have reason to come back to Kenya, even if Yeah.
The curtains were being drawn here at the Kenyatta National Hospital as the good professor called it a wrap at the Kenyan stage.
So learning to listen to others, I think, is another thing that we really must calculate and become part of us, so that each one of us, we are a family. We are a big family, and I think we need to make each and every person happy. I know some of the moms leave us without a baby, and it's very, very sad when we lose a baby.
As she parks her vintage car one last time before her daughter, the new owner comes in. She retires to Kampala in body, but her heart and soul is in Kenya, and with the many mothers who are able to go back home with their bundles of joy safely enveloped in their arms.
Music, music, with voice divine. So when you sing a song like that, the words are so meaningful that the sadness maybe you might have brought from wherever, it calms you down. Yeah, it calms you down.
Dr. Mercy Korir for Doctor's Diary, KT News.
Voice divine.
With nutrient-rich New Golden Fry. New Golden Fry is not just a vegetable cooking oil, it's nutrition. Join the community and be health-wise. A quality product from Bitco Africa, endorsed by the Nutrition Association of Kenya.
This is KTN News.